What is going on, everybody? Welcome to your weekend edition of Off the Bench with Scotty and Corey. I am Scotty. That is Corey Partner. How you doing? How you doing today?
Partner, as I say all the time, it is a great day to be a football fan, and it's an even better day today. We're gonna look at the rest of these draft picks here. What the? Can you work? Thank you. We're gonna go over the Commanders' draft picks, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely, you guys. Today we have a full slate of breaking down the Washington Commanders draft picks and subsequent undrafted free agent signings. So, without further ado, as the French would say, partner, would you like to reintroduce our first round draft pick to the fans?
Yeah. So going pick number 7, round one, we got the one, the only Sonny Styles, linebacker out of Ohio State. Um, Partner, I give this one an A grade. Uh, I not an A plus because we both know how much I really wanted Caleb Downs, but upon further investigation, upon looking into it more, I really am starting to like this guy. Um, he came out on an interview and said that he watched Sean Taylor, which you all know if you're Commanders fans, Sean Taylor is the be all end all for us as far as defensive talent. So there's a pinnacle of someone you grade things on, and whoever the worst is for you is the bottom, and then Sean Taylor is definitely that ceiling. And I've never seen someone get to that ceiling. Um, so I like this kid. I'm hoping that he comes close to it. I hope he can get in some violence on the field. Kind of give me some Sean Taylor esque vibes. I would like that a lot. He said he did watch some Sean Taylor um, highlights growing up whenever he was, obviously old enough to understand stuff like that. So, but here's the thing that really turned my mind on him. On a team with Caleb Downs and Arvil Reese, the Ohio State Buckeyes still looked at Sonny Styles as the guy on defense and made him the captain. So, I talked a little bit before the show that, he might get that green dot this year. Um, he definitely might be the one wearing the captain badge, and we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited to see how that goes. But yeah, I give this one an A. Partner, what do you think?
I like it. I like it a lot. I also give this an A grade. The reason it's not an A plus just yet, and it may be an A plus at the end of this coming year. He has only been playing linebacker for 2 years. You can see just how far he's come. He has fantastic instincts. He's really good at running downhill at the football. He's patient. He has a little more. He's not as patient as you would like for him to be just yet, but he has some really good pieces in his back pocket to help him get get that particular set of knowledge down. And that is his father, former Super Bowl champion linebacker with, for all my Commanders fans, with London Fletcher on that 2001 St. Louis Rams team. I apologize. Yes, he was a part of that defense. Was Sonny Styles' father, Lorenzo. So he has his dad to lean on. There are talks of the Commanders being open to bringing Bobby Wagner back, which I think would be a fantastic voice to have in his ear because I think he's going to do great things. And I think having Leo Chenal, who is a career linebacker, on his side as well, that's going to help a punch. Having Frankie Luvu, who is also really, really good at playing off ball linebacker, I think that's going to help him a bunch. But he's only been playing linebacker for 2 years. He's a converted safety, which I think really helps his coverage grade, and I think that's going to help open up the versatility of this defense a bunch. I give this an A grade as well, partner. I am enamored with Sonny Styles almost as much as I was with Caleb Downs, and you guys know that. I harped on Caleb Downs basically all draft season. But I like Sonny. I like Sonny a lot.
Yeah. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do this year. Training camp is going to be coming up around the corner, so we'll see what he's really made of. Let's see if that Ohio State talent can transfer into the league. Which, if wide receivers have anything to say about it, I have a little bit of hope there. So we'll see. We'll definitely see how that goes.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, we'll just jump right over into our next draft pick. With 71st overall in round three, the Commanders go out and get, in my opinion, the best true route runner, the best pure route runner in this year's draft, and probably in the last couple. Antonio Williams out of Clemson. I am in love with the kid's tape. He has sure hands. He catches the ball with his hands. He's very quick. He is the best route runner and hands down the best separator in this year's draft. And if you look at Washington's offense over all of last season and even the beginning of 2024, the big issue with wide receiver production was getting separation. And Antonio Williams does that. He gets separation unlike anyone that I have seen since Santana Moss in the burgundy and gold. And there's a lot of comparison. There's a lot of comparison to what Amon-Ra St. Brown does in a very Ben Johnson style offense. And with David Blau having been a part of that particular type of system, it would not surprise me if that's the kind of offense that's adopted and the kind of offense that would allow Antonio Williams to thrive. I give this an A minus grade. I think the value is fantastic, and we'll get more into the value of these picks later on in the episode. But partner, what do you think about Antonio Williams?
I like him. It was a need, and we didn't have any second round picks, so he does luckily fall to the third for us. So again, I really like the pick there. Um, now there's no confirmed news on Ayuk. There's a lot of rumors, and Adam Peters, I believe, is not going to send a pick. Although the GM down there at in San Francisco did say, "Hey, the line is open," meaning give me a call, but it's gonna take a pick. I think Adam Peters waits it out. I think he calls his bluff. I believe he will be released before the start of the season. The only thing that sucks about that is that there's no time for him and Jaden to really get on a rhythm, and that kind of sucks a little bit because as we both know, as we seen last year with Terry doing the hold out, hold in, whatever it was he did, um, the chemistry kind of just fell a little bit, and now we see the same kind of thing that might happen there. So I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping that no, we end up getting him, and then this kid, Antonio Williams, does become a slot, because we both know that if we get Brandon Ayuk's gonna be wide receiver two, Terry obviously wide receiver one, and I think this kid will be a great slot guy. He has an amazing route running ability, quick off the ball. So I really do like him. But again, it was a need, and we filled it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And a quick note on the Brandon Ayuk situation. John Lynch, general manager of the 49ers, said that yes, the line is open. If anyone wants to make a deal, give us a call. I think he is calling everyone else's bluff. I think he's just really trying to make it look like they have options. Brandon Ayuk has a no trade clause. His the only team that I see him waiving that no trade clause for, because he has made it glaringly apparent he wants to work with Jaden Daniels again. The amount of interest that the Commanders have in Brandon Ayuk, as well as the amount of interest as that BA has working with Jaden, I think it's more of a win, not an if. It's really just down to when the 49ers um, want to release him. And the big thing is, I think all of this is related to money. The 49ers are not nearly as well off on cap space as the Commanders are, and um, they don't want to pay him out any due money, which he has a roster bonus guarantee that goes into effect September 1st. So that would alleviate a lot of the cap penalty of releasing him now.
Right.
Don't be surprised then. But a little different from the Terry McLaurin situation from last year with Jaden. Terry is hands down the number one target, regardless in this offense.
Yeah.
Terry's going to be the X. He's going to be the hot route. He is going to be the guy who gets the targets. And I think that would help BA if he is late getting to, let's say, training camp or if he signed late preseason.
Right.
I think that helps a lot because he'll have an entire offseason. Will Jaden, he'll have an entire offseason with guys that he already has rapport with, De'Ami Brown and Terry McLaurin. He'll have an entire offseason with Antonio Williams. He has Luke McCaffrey. He has Jalen Lane. He has Traylon Burks. A lot of guys to alleviate that pressure. But the big one, I think, is Antonio Williams once they get into a rhythm because he's going to get the separation that really only Terry has been known to get since 2019. And I think that's going to help this offense a ton until Brandon Ayuk gets there and gets settled in.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a pretty stacked wide receiver room, in my opinion. A lot of guys who have made their mark on the team either last year or the year before, and I'm just happy to have those guys back in because again they made their mark, and we both know that Jaden can fit some crazy passes in. Um, so, but moving on, we got in the I don't remember what pick he was, but anyway, we got the next one is Josh Josephs is his name.
Pick 147 in round 5.
Yes, and I give this grade an A. Again, it's not a massive need, but I think he'll be a great third person in rotation. Um, we already have Adafe Owe, so and we already have a starter for the other side. So I mean, I think he'll make a great third down guy, and eventually he'll probably work his way up to the back the second guy on that defensive line. Quick off the line, gets after the quarterback fairly often, um, and again he has room to make the starting roster as soon as next year. Um, I knew that other guy's name. I can't think of it. Anyway,
Lawrence Armstrong will be starting on the other side of the defensive line.
yeah, and I believe he only has a 1 year deal. So if for performance reasons or age reasons or whatever have you, um, I think this guy right here can definitely be the one to step up and take the reins from that guy. So, but just to feed a little bit of stats here, he has played 48 games, 51 solo tackles, 104 combined tackles, 22 tackles for loss, and 9.5 sacks over the course of his 4 year college career. So again, he has 6 forced fumbles, 3 of which were last year and 3 the year before. Fantastic, um, uh, fantastic guy. And last year he actually had a forced fumble recovered that he ran in for a touchdown, and he has 41 total yards from fumble recoveries. Um, he also had 9 pass defenses, so that tells me that he can get out and defend passes as well. He's not just a straight rusher. So those are great stats for a guy coming out of Tennessee. He has played in Tennessee his entire time, so that tells me that loyalty is a big thing for him. It means he's not going to bounce around, which is awesome. Um, and I'm excited to work with him. I really am. Well, I'm not working with him, but you get my point. Um, yeah, partner, what do you think?
I love this. Josh Josephs was a pick that I really did not think would be, namely because I did not think that he would be there. I had him much earlier at him in the fourth round, and he didn't, like you said, it didn't really seem like a need until you look at what his strong suits are. And the Commanders and total rush defense were 30th last season, and he is a fantastic run stopper. He can set the edge, he can create pressure rolling inside over guards, over the center, and he can drop into coverage. He is a do it all kind of outside linebacker, edge rusher type position. But fun fact, and this is a good thing for Jaden Daniels. Joshua Josephs, in his freshman year at Tennessee, got his very first career sack against, you guessed it, you guys, Louisiana State quarterback Jaden Daniels in the 2023 game. And here we are. Here we are 3 years later, and they're teammates. How cool is that? Um, that's a little interesting tidbit, but I like this signing because of who he is and how he can develop, because he has shown flashes as a pass rusher. He is obviously a very good run defender, very good in dropping back off of the line of scrimmage to kind of create those exotic bubble looks in zone defense. I like him. He's a long guy. He has big hands. So he fits what I think they're going to want to do. And given how many pure pass rushers are around him, how he develops, determines whether or not they need to throw a second contract at Caleb on Chase on, or Dorrance Armstrong, or Deatrich Wise, those kind of guys. Because those three in particular are only on 1 year deals. Charles Omenihu as well. Those guys all being on 1 year deals, having a rookie guy with high upside being on a rookie contract at least 3 or 4 years makes a world of difference, considering he can be as good or better as those guys coming off of the edge toward the quarterback. I gave
Absolutely.
this an A minus. I like this pick a lot.
I gave this one just a solid A. Again, like you said, didn't seem like a need, but uh, again, once you look at his intangibles, then you start to realize, okay, well, he has some things that embody a commander and embody what I want to see on this team. So, and it kind of falls back to the Sonny Styles thing, where again, I didn't like him until I looked into him and then realized that this guy really is something that I would like to have on my team. And yeah, I mean, again, wouldn't mind of still having Caleb Downs even with looking into it, and that's why it's an A
Right.
instead of an A plus. But anyway, um, moving on. Partner, break down the next one.
For sure, for sure. But real quick, since we're speaking on Joshua Josephs, one thing that I constantly saw associated with Joshua Joseph was high energy. And post draft, I know I am, I know you are very high energy. And you know how I maintain my energy, partner?
How's that?
That is with today's sponsor, Aspire Energy. You guys, I'm never going to not hype them up. They're fantastic. They taste delicious. They have a variety of flavors. It's that 80 milligrams of natural green tea caffeine. It's the guarana to keep that energy all day. It's the no crash because there's zero sugar. It's the no calories, so it doesn't harm your diet. You guys, they're fantastic and they taste great. And you, our awesome viewers and listeners, can get yours at the best price that they're offering, 20% off. All you have to do, go to aspiredrinks.com/discount /OTB25. Get your fix, you guys. Get your fix. Because it is a healthy, clean, long lasting, sustained energy. And you too could be coming off the edge all day like Joshua Josephs and myself and Corey right here on Off the Bench. All you need to do, once again, aspiredrinks.com /discount /OTB25 and order yours today. Now,
Absolutely.
really quickly segueing into the next player, who also very high energy guy. Matter of fact, Penn State's leading career rusher, a dude who does not put the ball on the turf or the grass. In the sixth round with pick 187, the Washington Commanders drafted Penn State running back Katron Allen, nicknamed appropriately Fat Man because he runs with big old hands, choppy legs, and he does not turn the ball over, you guys. 850 plus career touches in college, zero fumbles. And I think that's going to be a refreshing shot in the arm. I know that that's beginning to be a crowded running back room, but he is a guy for me, and this is my highest grade for the entire draft because of the style of player that he is. And instead of comparing him to what Bill Crosby Merritt does, let's see this kind of more like a David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs type of thing, kind of that Sonic and Knuckles kind of thing that they had going on in Detroit. That's where I see this partnership being. I see Katron Allen just thumping, running up the middle, covering up the ball, grinding out yards. His legs never quit. He has, I'm telling you guys, look at his forearms and his hands. He is just big, meaty dude and strong as an ox. I gave this one an A plus just because of the style of player. And initially, I would have had Mike Washington Jr. over Katron Allen. And then I sat back and I had a conversation with my good friend. He runs the Covering the Commanders channel over there on YouTube. His name is Joshua Taylor. Go show him some love. Excellent knower of ball. And he turned a sound eye toward Katron Allen for me on Friday morning, and I was like, I'm not against it. I'm not against it. And then Saturday morning rolls around. He ends up coming to the Commanders. I love this pick partner. I don't think he's there to uproot Bill. I think he's there to complement Bill. How do you feel about it?
Absolutely. I got it wrote down as again a solid A. Um, he's going to be a great third string. Good if something goes wrong with injuries or performance. And last year Bill did go down with an injury, and like you said, Bill does put the ball on turf. Um, I think that's an issue that needs to be worked on, but it's not uncommon. Um, Derrick Henry, one of the league's best running backs, he also has the same issue, and he runs meaner than anyone that I've watched run the rock for a long time. But again, he has a flaw, and I think if Bill works out that flaw, I think he'll be a great running back. I think he is a great running back. I We all know that I'm a big Bill fan on this channel, but I do like Katron Allen, and if in fact Rachaad White does not get as many touches, I think that the next guy up would be Katron Allen, and as you said, I think he'll be a great compliment. Do I think that he will take Bill's spot? I don't think so. Um, I just think that there's a way to go about certain things, and I think Bill is a great fit, especially building off of what he did last year on a somewhat crappy offense, especially with Jaden being down. You can't make Bill run the ball every single time, and it just doesn't work that way. But um, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, and I think that if that becomes the case, I think that one of these guys does step up and take some heat off of Bill um, for the foreseeable future. So I like it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And like I said, I don't think he's there to uproot Bill Crosby Merritt in any fashion. I think he is just the change of pace for Bill.
Absolutely.
And he's gonna be the tough yardage in between the tackles, kind of like Chris Rodriguez before he took his leave to uh, Jacksonville.
Right.
That's where I see this. And Bill already not being asked to be a workhorse. The most he was asked to carry was Week 15 against the Giants, 18 carries, 96 yards. But if you take what Bill did last year and you put in a back behind a more continuity of offensive line, and you get more of the punch from your power guy, which I think Katron Allen is going to bring over what Chris Rodriguez did. This is going to be a very formidable duo.
Right.
Do I think that it takes away from touches for Rashad White? I don't think so. I think that Rashad's going to be splitting time with Bill in that role, and I think it's going to be anyone's game. Or again, Rashad White only under contract for next year, and Bill being on his rookie contract will be there for at least another 2 years. So I don't think there's even really competition there.
Right.
But I think where you're going to see the big changes is with Katron Allen running downhill between the tackles. And I think it's a good thing for this offense.
Right. Now, speaking of the offensive line, speaking between the tackles, and there's another guy here that they decided to get in the seventh round, and that is Matt Golban, center from Michigan State, and I like this. I like this pick. I actually do have it as a B plus, and here's why. Should someone go down, I think he's going to step right up and do his thing. I think that he's a great center, and I think this is a great place to pick him, especially if you consider, um, the guys we picked ahead. I thought maybe we go with an offensive lineman, maybe where Joshua Joseph sets, or even Katron Allen sets, but we grabbed those guys there, and I like them picks significantly better. Um, so, we talked about how you thought one of those guys might have gone sooner, and fortunately for us, they didn't, and we picked them up. And that leaves a great spot for Matt Golban to come in. A lot of people that I'm hearing, you know, don't like, don't think Nick Allegretti is going to pan out as well as some other people think. But and if that's the case, maybe this guy can step in and maybe show what he's worth. Um, but yeah, I like it. It's again, it's a B plus for me. Partner, what do you think?
I also have this graded as a B plus. I like Matt Golban. I like what he does. I like how he can anchor his feet. He can really drive the defensive lineman across from him back or off of the quarterback. He can kind of direct. He has really strong hands. And Nick Allegretti will be moving back to his natural position of center. Uh, Matt Golban has we'll call it a natural position of interior offensive lineman, just because he has experience at guard, he has experience at center, and his development over the past 2 years has been phenomenal. I think there will be competition. Um, there will be a three center competition. Forgive me, I cannot remember the other gentleman's. It's Julian Good Jones, I want to say, or Julian Jones Good. Uh, that is the reserve center at the moment. I think there will be a three-person competition, and I will not be surprised if Matt Golban wins that. PFF has his grade for last season as 82.9 overall grade, 81.9 in the run, 87.8 in the pass. Only allowed 2 sacks and 5 total pressures. Now, in his last 2 seasons, well over 880 snaps. Those numbers are very similar. 2 sacks and those 5 pressures. That's very esteemed considering that center was one of the weak points of this offensive line last season, which is why Tyler Biadasz is no longer with the team and he is now out in LA with the Chargers. The value, again, you'll hear me say this a lot throughout this episode, the value of this draft class is unbelievable. The the pick position versus the expected pick position for every one of these players is absolutely incredible. So to get Matt Golban where the Commanders picked him up is stellar. pretty sure in a lot of big boards he was in the 150s, 160s. Um, Nobody thought that he would be here. Much like your Katron Allens, your Joshua Josephs, everybody thought those guys were going to be higher up on teams' draft boards just because of their Pro Football Focus numbers and their production throughout their college careers. But I like it. A B plus just because of him not finding a true position between guard and center until this past season. So um, we'll see, but he does feel more naturally like a center. So I think this will be a lot better position for him, and I like it.
Absolutely.
But moving on to our final pick of the Commanders draft, and this is a pick I think that shocked a lot of people. And once I announce the pick, I will give you I'll give the viewers an insight as to why I think all of these picks make sense in hindsight. But round 7, pick 223 in this year's NFL draft, quarterback Ethan Kayak-Manis out of Rutgers. Just a hair over 6'3", 220 pounds. Runs really pretty, but also has an incredibly strong arm. A lot of experience. He started both of his years at Rutgers, won a ton of games, made a ton of impact. It's very hard for a quarterback to carry a team that is missing other positions, and he never really had the strongest wide receiver core or the strongest offensive line. Always a really good defense. But Ethan Kayak-Manis to me immediately eclipses Sam Hartman. So I need all of those lovely ladies who are enamored with Sam Hartman and his beautiful hair and his can-do attitude and his fantastic smile. I need you guys to go on ahead and kiss him goodbye because he's probably going to be a practice squad quarterback or he's going to end up completely off of the roster. Ethan Kayak-Manis is just a better quarterback. And do not be surprised, and Corey and I were talking about this before the show, don't be surprised if you see him leapfrog Marcus Mariota as soon as next year, given just how much talent and upside he has to be a potential backup. And I like the kid. He's very well spoken. He's very endearing, very mature. I give this one an A minus just because of positional value. I think strong backup quarterbacks are very necessary because, as you saw with Patrick Mahomes going down late in the year, it can be the difference.
Right. Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, we've seen last year that you know, Jaden Daniels went down, Marcus Mariota went down, um, and it's just one of those things. Again, the offensive line is not solely to blame, but the guys protecting the quarterback didn't protect the quarterback, or in Marcus Mariota's instance, the running and jumping and pretending you're 22 years old again isn't gonna work. And we both know how I feel about Marcus Mariota. So I originally had this graded at a C, but I think I bumped it up to a B just because of the thought of him taking Marcus Mariota's job. It excites me and makes me all giddy inside. Um, but all jokes aside, dude, I really do. I'm starting to like this pick a little bit. I think he's going to be a possible third string, very possible third string, and likely to make it to the QB2. Um, Whether he retires or Marcus Mariota retires or not, I think that he will probably be there at some point. Now, hopefully, Marcus Mariota or uh, Athen, I'm not going to try his last name, but even if he doesn't, um, hopefully those two guys don't ever see the field, and Jaden Daniels stays healthy for the next 15 years, 20 years, whatever, however long he plays football. So that's my hope. But again, it makes me happy to see that there might be a guy taking Marcus Mariota's job. And like you said, it is very important that you have a great backup because if that starting quarterback goes down, you know, I mean, for hopefully not, but what if they're down 4, 5, 6 weeks? What if it's the first 6 weeks and then you're battling out of that trying to make the playoffs? And it's just at that point it's really hard. If you go 6 losses straight, then again that makes a world difference. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And two, before we put our final grades on the draft and then move into UDFA signings and draft grades from outside sources, let's look at some instances where backup quarterbacks could have saved the season. And we will start, obviously, in Washington. We saw what happened there, having to rely on Marcus Mariota and then Josh Johnson. And if you notice, there's zero mention of Sam Hartman putting on his helmet and going out on the field for Washington. And I think you can trust Ethan Kayakmanis to put on the helmet, to suit up. If you watch his film, he throws prettier balls than Sam Hartman did. He knows how to command his offense a little bit better. Come on, partner, this is a PG-13 show. We appeal to the kids as well. But I feel like we will have a trust and honesty with Ethan that is far exceeding what the front office and coaching staff have with Sam Hartman right now. Now, the big thing that I want you guys to consider whenever you consider the guys that are on this list, the 6 draft picks that Adam Peters and company put on the roster over this past weekend, every one of these guys was a top 30 visit for the Washington Commanders. Every one of them. So they have a list of guys, and they stuck to that list of guys. They see what they call commander qualities. They put commander tags on these guys. And Sonny Styles was the pick. It does not matter how many mock drafts. It does not matter how many fan cries there were. Caleb Downs was never the pick at 7. If Sonny Styles was there, it was always going to be Sonny Styles at 7. That's the reason that Adam Peters said they were going to stick and pick versus trade back, because if you trade back, he's not going to be there. And they have commander tags. They put them on these guys, and that's apparent by the fact that every one of their draft picks were top 30 visits. Now, my final grade for this Commanders draft is a solid A. I think
Same.
they did absolutely excellent. I think they addressed a bunch of positions of need. Don't be surprised if some of these names that I mentioned on the undrafted free agent signings list, don't be surprised if they make roster at positions that they're not listed at. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. Partner, how did you grade this draft?
I graded the exact same. I mean, right there on the top, A for this. And that's just because, like you said, every one of them were at the top 30. They stuck to a game plan that they had. There was no uh, I'm forgetting words, but there was no audibles. There was no audibles thrown in there. So they put these guys on the list. They said, hey, each one of these people are exactly what we want at this point in the draft, and if they're available, we're taking them. So again, Sonny Styles is again after digging a little bit, Sonny Styles is a great fit. He is what I want as a leader, as a commander of the defense, and it's apparent. If and that's literally just because of the other names on that deep. They didn't have to go with him. They could have chose Aubrey Reese. They could have chose Caleb Downs, but they chose him because he embodies leadership, and that's what the Commanders are all about. And the rest of these guys embody something that the Commanders love, and they chose them, and I'm inclined to believe it. This isn't the Washington of old where we pick random ass players for no reason. And I mean, I think we went 5 straight years picking a running back in the first 2 rounds, and that was before. There was a stretch of 5 years talking about the old Washington. So again, they seen that we have needs and they filled those needs. They have obviously some some sort of stability in that safety room, and they said, okay, if Caleb Downs is there and Sonny Styles is there, we feel better picking Sonny Styles because I think we can work with um, the safeties we have. And again, new defensive coordinator who loves Washington, grew up in the DC area, and I mean, it was his favorite team growing up. Look, I don't want anyone else coaching my team, my defense, especially uh, that he's not just chasing a paycheck there. This is his favorite team. He wants to see them do good, and it'd be like if one of us got a job like that. You know what I mean? So, partner, I like it. Fantastic all around.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And quick note of new defensive coordinator Durante Jones, native of the DMV, lover of all things Washington Commanders. His only defensive coordinator experience, true defensive coordinator experience, was right here at Louisiana State University. Um, so that is very good news. A lot of people are like, well, he's never called plays. He did. He called plays for a year in college, coaching Louisiana State's defense. So
Good morning
have a
to
lot of
you.
faith.
Come on now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would like to really quickly review what the draft analysts are saying. The
Absolutely.
analytics say that Washington had a killer draft. If you look at Sharp Analytics at Sharp Football on Twitter for you guys who like to look at the stats, the Washington Commanders had the most valuable draft class in the 2026 NFL Draft. That is based on the value versus reach. Every one of these players were picked lower than they were valued to go, is what that means. Sonny Styles was valued 2 positions higher at 5. Antonio Williams was valued 5 positions higher at 66. Josh Josephs was valued at 81. He went way lower. Katron Allen way lower. Matt Goldman way lower. Ethan Kayak Manis was right about where he was going to be picked. So that's the only thing that's really not of value. But if you look at the value in the positional need, needing to replace your backup quarterback with a backup quarterback of the future, hands down, and it was a runaway. The Panthers and the Commanders had hands down the most valuable draft over everybody else. And you and I had a conversation about this particular GM before we went on air, partner. San Francisco had the least valuable draft and had the most reaches for. I think they had eight. I want to say eight top 250 picks. So John Lynch did a little bit of reaching for his talents. Now they got some really really good talent, but according to the analytics, it could have been attained later. PFSN has the Commanders as the only A plus draft grade in the entire NFL. Next Gen Stats gives this particular draft class the third best draft production as far as on the field production. These guys last year in college, third best production in the NFL, 75.2. I think is 77.1 and 76.4 were the other two draft classes. And those were the Raiders and Jaguars, I want to say. I will get you that fact in just a moment. And Pro Football Focus. You guys know how much we love PFF. Pro Football Focus gives this draft an A minus, which is tied with top of the league. Tied with top of the league according to PFF. But top three drafts for the Commanders across basically all analytical departments that do third party analytics when it comes to these draft prospects. So the Commanders killed it this year. Hands down, Adam Peters' best draft as far as value versus position. Obviously, you can never replicate getting your franchise quarterback in a draft as well as um, nailing down your franchise left guard, which I think Brandon Coleman is. Unless one of these, and I'm super high on this guy, and we'll get to him in just a minute. But this is Adam Peters, hands down, Adam Peters' best draft as general manager of the Washington Commanders.
Absolutely. Sorry, I thought there was more. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love the draft. The draft went well. Again, this is just a cherry on top of the entire free agency start from where the free agency started to the draft. Just dropping bombs. We ended the free agency divisional recap last week. I want to say last week, maybe last Saturday, maybe is when we finished that. I think it was the 18th of April that we finished that. But again, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to start doing these also in divisional order. Me and you talked about that, partner. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm okay with it. We'll start that at some point. But partner, I know you are excited to talk about the undrafted free agents signed to the was. Um, so what do you got for me?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, this is as of last night, post draft, right about 10:15 Central PM. This is the list of 8 undrafted free agents that Washington was putting pen to paper with. Quentin Moore, tight end out of the University of Washington. I believe Quentin to be a camp body who's probably going to end up being a practice squad guy if something were to happen to John Bates or Ben Sinnott. He gets called up. He's a blocking tight end with reliable hands. I like him a lot. Fred Davis, who is a defensive back, primarily specialized in playing nickel corner or a little bit of safety over the top and three high looks out of Northwestern. I liked him a lot as well. Plays really well. His eyes could use a little more training. I think he'll be a training camp body, maybe a practice squad candidate, but he's definitely going to get his shot. And I like him. I like him a lot. Jaden Bradley, a speedster out of UNLV at the wide receiver position. He is quick. He's quicker than he is fast, but separation is what this team absolutely needs whenever it comes to the wide receiver room. I'll harp on that all day. Looking at last year, separation was the biggest issue. Nobody was open, and that's part of the reason Jaden was hurt for 10 games, and it's also part of the reason Mariota got hurt in the 4 games he was hurt in as well. So that's going to make a big difference. Jeffrey Mba, who is an interior defensive lineman, has played nose tackle, has also played the 3 and 5 as well. He is out of Southern Methodist University over there in Texas. I like this. I like this a lot because he can really, as a body style, simulate having Javon Kinlaw or Deron Payne down there on that defensive line. Again, another camp body is how I see this turning out. Now, this next prospect, I believe, is a candidate to knock Jerome Ford or possibly even Jeremy McNichols out of the running back room. And that's Robert Henry Jr. out of UTSA. He graded really high as far as his relative athletic score, given given the drills that he participated in. He was a very, very good runner with solid hands. Didn't put the ball on the turf. So there's a possibility that he is a dark horse candidate to knock one of those RB 4 or 5s out of the running back room. So let's not keep that off off the books here. This is a really intriguing prospect for me, and that's Malik Spencer, safety out of Michigan State. Now, didn't get a lot of love. Obviously, Michigan State's not quite the football school that it used to be back in the day. If you go back 20 years under Tom Izzo, those were some dogs. Even as recently as when Kirk Cousins played for Michigan State in the between 2008 and 2011, those were really really good teams. But since then, they don't get a lot of love, not a lot of recognition. And Malik Spencer plays safety in a way that I believe can make the opening day roster, and he may be the guy that forces Jeremy Reeves back to a special teams role, just based off of the way that he plays. And he can play football very well. If you have not seen any of his tape, you guys, I would highly recommend looking it up. He has good eyes, he has good instincts. A little raw as a prospect, but can definitely be molded into an NFL caliber, at least backup. So I like him a lot. Now, Tanoa Taugwai, an offensive guard prospect out of the University of Utah. This feels like an Adam Peters pickup. His his relative athletic score, what he can be graded on, was absolutely stellar, 9.57, which is 82nd out of every offensive guard since 1987. And there have been a lot of them. So, I think if he can be active the same way that he was active his junior year at Utah, he can 100% come in and make the opening day roster for Washington. Now, the one guy that I'm the most intrigued by, and if you guys remember, there was a video and a bunch of photos of Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin and Rashad White and De'Ami Brown and a couple of college guys that were working out in LA a few weeks before the draft. One, Chris Hilton Jr., wide receiver out of LSU, was also a member of that workout group. Now, here's the big thing that I think shows Hilton's want to as far as being in the NFL. Not only at his pro day did he run wide receiver drills, he also did drills as a defensive back, and scouts were very high on his ability to flip positions from one side of the field to the other, and he did drills at both cornerback and safety. So, don't be surprised, and this is the one that I was telling you guys about that may make the roster at a different position than what he was signed as. Keep your eyes on him, because if the wide receiver room proves to be too crowded, he has a very good likelihood of making the roster as a defensive back, because he does have really good footwork and really good hands, as evidenced by his time as a wide receiver at LSU.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of guys here, a lot of defensive guys I see as well. So maybe one of these guys actually do catch uh, a spot this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if that. Wouldn't be the first time that someone like this, undrafted, has made it onto the team. So again, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, for sure. And I like a lot of these guys. I think at least three of these guys make the opening day roster, and I think the rest of them end up filling out the practice squad, which is a great opportunity for them.
Absolutely. Quentin Moore actually, uh, he received a significant guarantee, 270,000 total, including a $20,000 signing bonus, and he to join the team. So that tells me that Washington really likes him. To take an undrafted free agent and hand him, I mean, $270,000 up front. So
That's life changing money. That's life changing money
Yeah,
for a lot of people.
absolutely. And that's including a $20,000 sign-on bonus. So I would say that he's probably one of those guys um, that takes the top spot. Um, also think that Jeffrey Mba is probably another one of those guys. She was $20,000 sign-on bonus and partial salary guarantee. So yeah, I would not be surprised at all if some of these guys make it on.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I have Chris Hilton Jr., Malik Spencer, and Tanoa Talgua, as well as possibly Quentin Moore making the roster active, making the active
Yep,
roster. If not, then one of those four will make the practice squad with the other four.
yep,
So I definitely see a few of these guys making the opening day roster.
absolutely. Uh, well, partner, if you've got nothing else, I've got nothing else. And ladies and gentlemen, I love talking football, but I love talking football the most with you, partner. So, um, massive thank you for taking time out of your day to do this with me. Massive thank you to all of my listeners. We are starting live streaming, and that will start on Tuesday of this week, where we will live stream, talk to you guys throughout the episode, and yeah. So we have some things in the works, so just keep your ears open. If you're not already, follow the socials: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, um, Twitter, or X, whatever one you want to call it. So yeah, just follow those things. You guys will get the latest up-to-date news if there's an issue, and we won't be recording for a day or so or whatever have you. I am personally thinking about going on a vacation soon, so there will be a week that I will not be here. And yeah, so partner, anything you want to say?
Absolutely, absolutely. And as always, thanks to you, partner. Thank you for making time in your day to come on and talk football with me, brother. There's nobody else. There's nobody else I'd rather be talking football with. The banter, the back and forth, the different opinions. It's a lot to love, and it makes it fun. But also, a huge thank you to our listeners, to our fans. Like you said, we will be starting live streaming uh, our success with the first half of the NFL or the first round of NFL draft. It was incredible. You guys showed out. And I think that we can establish a platform being able to be active and interactive with you guys. Thank you guys so much for making Off the Bench with Scotty and Corey possible. That includes you, partner, because well, there is no Scotty and Corey without Corey. So always that. But thank you guys, and thank you also to our wonderful sponsor of today's episode, Aspire Energy. Thank you guys for believing in a couple of old football boys and giving our listeners the best discount that you guys offer. How awesome is that? But I've got nothing else, partner. If you've got nothing else,
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for us. And as always, I am your co-host Corey. That is the other half, Scotty. And we'll see you guys on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Um, yeah, that's us signing off.